Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 29th day of June, 2023. Well, here we are almost at the end of the week and almost at the end of the month. Saturday's the 1st of July, so, happy birthday to my brother on that day. I'm going to go ahead. I've already pulled the rune. I started this a couple of times and I don't know. I kept saying it was like Monday and I could get that one out of my head. It's not, it's Thursday. Anyway, I have Birkenau to get us started here from the Elder Futhark as the one of the significators of the reading. And so that just means someone said, well, what's a significator mean? Well, what it means is it's just the overall focus of the reading. I do the above side, which is the side of spirit, which is from the Elder Futhark, and the other side, the below side, the ego side, the physical form side, is the Geomancy rune. And I'll take 4 elemental runes and throw them down, and whatever comes up is our Geomancy rune for the day. And that will be the below side of things. And so right now, though, we have Birkenau. Now, Birkenau is the 18th rune of the Elder Futhark. Numerologically, it'd be a 9 rather. I was going to say a 10, but it's not. 8 and 1 is 9, and so you're looking at endings and completion. And so Birkenau it's a birch tree, and it's about fertility. But it's about bringing something to fruition, and that could be a pregnancy, it could be the birth of a child, in other words. But it doesn't have to be just that. It can anything you're working on. You could be building a fence, and it's suggesting you'll finish that today, maybe. But basically, you're looking at family, protection, new beginnings, healing, growth. When you talk about Birkenau, so it's a very fertility-oriented rune. Oh, here, let me get my keyboard out of the way. It's like, what seems wrong here? Well, there's a big keyboard in the way. That's what's wrong. All right. Well, let's put these in the order of fire, air, water, and earth and see what we have. Oh, this is easy. Or no, it's not. I was going to say it's via, but it's not. There's 2 there for 2 dots for water. So there we're looking at Pur. Its complement is Puella. Those are the little boy and little girl runes in the Geomancy runes. And so it's youthful energy. But with Pur, the little boy rune, this is scattered little boy energy. Lack of impulse control, basically. And so if you're looking at Birkenau, then part of Birkenau, of course, is protection. And when you're bringing something to fruition or seeing something grow, you don't want to take shortcuts with it. You want to not be impulsive about what you're doing, and respect the process, basically, that you're engaged in, and let it play out the way it needs to. Now, in this case, Birkenau is suggesting that there's an ending to something today. And maybe so, but you don't want to rush it. You don't want to hurry it. So let's take a look at the cards, though. We'll draw 3. If we need more, we'll take them. But usually, if I do, I just need 1 more. Let's see. It was last week that I did. I think it was last week I had 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I did 4 on Thursday of last week. That was interesting. But it did give more information for the final card of that reading, the 3rd card, and so that was pretty interesting how that worked out. But let me just shuffle just a little bit more here. I shuffle before I start, but Oh, wow, that didn't work out very well. There we go. I cut the deck and I took the lower half of it. Well, we have the 8 of Swords, the 10 of Cups, and the 3 of Swords. And I'm wondering if we need to, let's see, 8 and 3 is 11, and 10, that reduces to 1, so 12. So 3 is the overall numerology. Well, I think I'm going to I'm going to put the 3 first. I'm going to go 3, 8, and 10. Let's do it that way. And you can do that, by the way, in tarot. You can move your cards around if something makes more sense um, to do it that way. Let's go ahead and start with a 3. Here we have 3 swords piercing a heart. Underneath the clouds that are raining down. The 3 of Swords is about betrayal. Generally speaking, somebody's saying something about you, they're slandering you or something like that, or they're doing something behind your back. If you look really close here, you see these 2 swords are actually behind this one. And so this could be a love triangle. This could be friends saying something about you, or coworkers, or people that have an agenda against you. It's not a fun card to draw. It's one that can be really heartbreaking, especially if you've put in a lot of time for something. So in terms of Birkenau, maybe what you're working on with somebody, maybe somebody's going to take credit for that now that it's coming to an end. And you need to protect yourself a little bit here. Somebody else, in that regard, it'd be somebody else's poor energy, lack of impulse control that's getting in the way. So it's not your lack of impulse control in that case, but it's somebody else's, unless you're the one that's involved. But generally speaking, you read the individual, the querent, in other words, all of you, as the center sword here. Then we go to the 8, and here, the situation could be pretty serious paired with the 3. And then if you look at the numerology of the 2 cards together, you're looking at 8 and 3 is 11. And so 11 also matches today's numerology. The 29th day, 2 and 9 adds up to 11. 11 is a master number for enlightenment and awakening, illumination, also spirituality. But what it's suggesting is that there's something else going on here, and you need to step back and get a better picture of it before you really understand what's going on. But somebody's lack of impulse control is impacting whatever outcome that from Birkenau that you're trying to create. So if there's some kind of project at work or something, if there's something in your family, if there's something going on with friends, and something has interfered with that, that's going to be felt with the 3. There's a betrayal there. There was some trust that was broken. But here with the 8, you see her bound and blindfolded. She's barefooted, and she's wearing a red gown, and she's barefooted again, and she's on this wet, soppy sand. So the ground is not real. I don't know. There's no grounding there. Let's put it that way. And there's emotion as part of this card as well, even though it's the swords card and that it's a sword suit, and that's the air element, and that's intellect. But again, you're looking at what has really happened here. How much are you being attacked from all sides? And it seems like here, when paired with this, now normally I wouldn't read this card this way. Normally how I'd read this card on its own, or if the 3 of Swords wasn't there, is she's turning off the noise around her to try to get some clarity within. And even if this is the noise of her own perceptions getting in the way of being able to see something realistically, and here she just turns everything off. But the problem here is you've got that water, and you've got water here as well with the rain. And you'll see that in the different suits. You'll see other kinds of elemental stuff. I mean, here you have the earth with the sand, and you have water. That's the water element. And so you've got both earth and water here. You've got red, you've got fire, and that's with intention. She's intentionally going within to try to figure things out. But here, what is she trying to figure out? Are these all of the illusions around her, the self-delusion, which doesn't necessarily mean she, couldn't see this coming or deliberately wouldn't see whatever betrayal's coming. It's just that she had all this belief about this situation or this love partner or the set of friends she has or what have you, all of these perceptions around her. And she has to let them go now, and she has to go within and not have them influence her anymore. And so she's bound and blindfolded for that reason. And that takes tremendous strength, inner strength, to do that. 8 is a number of strength. It's about also material recognition and approval. So if this is a project at work or something where you've had some betrayal by some coworkers, or maybe they're trying to take credit for something that you actually did, for example, it's just too much. And she can't look at it anymore. She has to figure out just exactly what's going on. And again, if it has to do with material recognition and approval, then you're looking at something probably at work, or something that you're in some kind of collaborative experience with, and others within that group situation, whatever it is. I'm trying to be as general as possible here, so it'll apply to a lot of different things. But it just reminds me of a work situation where others are trying to take credit for something that you did, and they're stabbing you in the back. They're going to the boss and say, yeah, we did this, she didn't really have anything to do with it, when in fact she did. Maybe she was the one who shepherded the whole thing, and everybody just rode along on her coattails. But something has happened here, and she recognizes that there's been a betrayal, and she just has to get away from it all and close in and go into meditation and try to understand the bigger picture without all the noise coming in at her, with all the chatter, either from her own mind or from other people coming in and trying to manipulate her reaction to maybe that's what it is. They're trying to manipulate her reaction to what's going on, and she just can't have that. And then when she does, and I feel like we're missing a card here, so I'm going to take a fourth card, because we're going to come here to the 10. So we know there's going to be a positive outcome, but I feel like we're missing a step here. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to put this one back down, and let me take another card. Because I think that, I don't know if it's going to give us a little more clarity about what's happening, but maybe it has to do with the decision that she makes that gets her to that place of happiness and fulfillment with the 10 of Cups. Because right now, the betrayal's pretty strong, and it's impacting her so much, that so much so that she has to, really get herself away from everything and from all the influences out there that could possibly impact how she wants to see things. Right now, this is about what's best for her and not what's best for the people that have betrayed her. I'm going to take the 13th card. And I take the 13th card simply because I was born on the 13th and things happen to me in 13s. And so I just take it's just a random way of taking an additional card. So it's not necessarily part of anyone else's tarot process. So it's just my quirky little thing. Yeah, here we have the 7th card of the Major Arcana, the Chariot. The Chariot is a really interesting card. It's literally a card of balance. Everywhere you look, there's balance, whether you're looking at the shadow side of self and the more projective side of self here, the receptive and projective presence, polarity there in balance. You see the dreidel is totally upright, so it's in balance because it's not fallen over. You see a winged disc, it's probably a sun there, and that's about healing. And healing and balance. The wings are balanced, and one isn't, they're not all cockeyed or something or anything. They're all over the place, or cockeyed. And you see the two wheels of the chariot. He is at rest. He is at balance. You see you see the moons here and here. This could also be implied as a moon. So you see the triple aspect there of mind, body, spirit balance. The 7 alone is about balance. You see the two, castle-like buildings there, one on either side. Again, anytime you see that, where you see one on each side, there's an element of balance within that card. And with the chariot, it's knowing when to take action and when to be still, basically, to observe. 7 is also a number of observation. Here you see the Merkabahs in the drape above and behind on his chariot there. That's indicative of higher awareness coming in. And here you have the crown with the large star there on it. You also see here the glyph for the element of earth. And so there's a sense of grounding about what he's doing, knowing when to take the reins and when to take control, and when to stand back and just be at rest and observe. And I think that that's the decision that she has to make. Does she take action? We don't really know what the action still is, though, do we? So we may take one more card. Let's do one more and see if we can get something about that. But that's what she's having to decide. Do I act? Do I speak up for myself? Do I make a decision that's going to benefit my happiness, benefit my integrity? If it's a work situation and someone is trying to take take the what am I trying to say here? Take credit. That's what I'm trying to say. I've got take the reins in my head here from the chariot. To take credit for something that is not theirs to take, and that's the betrayal. At some point, you've got to have some observation there. You got to sit back and think, well, all right, what am I going to do about this? Am I going to go to the boss? Will it even matter? Is it just time for me to understand that this is not a situation that I need to be in any longer? And maybe she goes and looks for another job, or if it's a love triangle, what is she going to do? Is she going to forgive? Is she ever going to be able to trust again those people that are involved, her partner and whoever else? Maybe it's a best friend or something. Or if it's not a love triangle and it's friendship, you're going to have to decide, well, did I ever see these people right? Maybe I didn't. And that's where I think the 8 of Swords comes in, because did she even see the people correctly? Have they always been manipulative and she just didn't know it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, maybe we'll get something with this card. Well, here we have the Queen of Pentacles, and I love this lady. She's wonderful. She's kind. She's generous. She's compassionate. She has abundance around her, but she's very contemplative. She's quiet. She's ambitious, trustworthy. She's wise. She's kind of the Earth Mother here, sort of like Birkenau. She's domestic and she's generous, and so. But what she's done is she's retreated to her own space, and she's acknowledging what she has in her life. And again, we still don't know if what kind of a decision that she's made in terms of how to deal with the initial betrayal here of the 3. But at some point, it's going to get her to the 10. Now here you see a family. You also see a line of demarcation here between where they are and almost like you have an archway here with the rainbow with 10 cups there. This is about emotional fulfillment, but it's almost like it's you've done what you came to do. That's the Birkenau aspect of it, and now you've gotten what you've progressed onward, and you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and at the end of that is the rainbow of happiness, basically. And they've secured their life. They have maybe this is a new home that they've just purchased and they're going to move into it. But there's this sense of walking under that arched rainbow into a new life here, into new security, into new happiness, emotional security, family security. And all of that is wrapped up in Birkenau. Birkenau is also about new beginnings, and the 10 reduces to 1, which is new beginnings. And so it's also talent and leadership and other things as well, but it's also about new beginnings. And I think that at some point she made peace with whatever happened and made whatever decision she needed to make. And maybe we're not getting a card that talks about the actual decision that's made, because this is such a complex reading and can apply to so many different situations. But again, let's just go through it one by one. Here we have, again, the betrayal that's happened. Depending on what it is, it could be, it's personal, obviously, but it could be at work, it could be with a love partner, it could be with friends, it could be family, neighbors, whatever. You're involved in something, though, because Birkenau is talking about bringing something to fruition. You're involved in something together. So maybe if it's a love triangle and your partner has cheated on you, then maybe you were engaged or something, and now that has to go away because you can't trust the person. Or maybe you make a different decision and you decide to work it out. And I personally, I don't know how one does that, but it happens. And so if that's what you want to do, well, fine. And then we come here, though. In order to do that, you've got to turn off the noise around you. You've got to ignore even your own perceptions, your own beliefs, all of that, to get quiet and get in there and use that inner strength to find the truth of the matter, at least the truth for as it feels like to you. And decisions have to be made, but they have to be made knowing when to take the reins and when to actually step back and do nothing and just observe. Let things settle out. So maybe the decision is actually here. Maybe the decision is letting things settle out and letting things come to rest so that you understand the entire picture before you then make the decision that you need to make. Or maybe that's part of the decision-making process. And then we come to the Queen of Pentacles, where I think you just get to the point where you accept things as they are, and your peace of mind is more important than whatever drama that was going on here, that you had to deal with here and here. And so at that point, you have the peace of mind necessary to move forward in your own way, in a way you've decided. And then at the end of the rainbow, you have emotional satisfaction. Things come together for you. You're able to move forward into something positive, possibly with you and your family. That could be a part of it. Maybe there's whatever betrayal here was resolved and it's basically new beginnings now. Or maybe you let go of all of this that was going on and you began something new entirely. A new relationship, if you will, a new job that maybe brings you a more emotional satisfaction than the one that you had, maybe even one that's more lucrative for your family. If this is in fact reflecting a work situation. I've just known people that have been stabbed in the back at work, basically, and by people they work with, and others taking credit for things that aren't theirs to take. And it's, and then you're playing catch up, and you look kind of like you're whining if you go to the boss and say, excuse me, but I did all that work. They did not. It depends on the relationship you have with your boss. If the boss knows you to be someone of integrity and you're coming to them and saying, hey, I don't know what's going on here, but that is not what happened. And maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be fine. And those people will be the ones that will be fired for it. Who knows? Or demoted or something, or moved to another section of, personally, if someone's going to do that, if they work for me, I don't want them working for me. So it could be something like that happens. But in order to truly understand it, you have to go within, and you have to turn off the noise around you. You have to turn off all of the nonsense around you. Air element, again, is the intellect. It's about justice, reason, balance, observation. It's about magic. And it's literally about in the 7 here where we're having to observe. And I think that these two cards kind of go together. I think that, to turn off the noise and to try to get down to what really, really is going on and how you feel about it, and how you process it intellectually, how you reason things out, Sometimes you just have to really step back and let things settle out and not make a decision until that happens. And I think that that may be what we're seeing here. And then when you do make a decision, it's going to bring you a whole lot more peace of mind, where you can sit and contemplate what your future is going to be all about, and what you clearly already have, and as opposed to maybe what you ended up losing here. And then from there, we have the happiness that you deserve to have. And it's almost like when you see this here, and the line of demarcation here, and again, here's where they are and here's where they're going. It's almost like they're walking under that archway, that rainbow, to get there, which I think is kind of an interesting way to see that. So I think that where poor the geomancy rune fits in, I think that the issue there is the lack of impulse control that started the whole thing. The lack of integrity by at least two people that started this whole thing. The betrayal of trust that began it all. That's a huge, a huge type of betrayal, and it does interfere with your peace. It does interfere with whatever you're trying to bring to fruition. Whether it's going to be something where maybe you were engaged to be married, and now you've got to rethink that, and you've got to do it without anybody getting in the way of that thought process. Letting things settle out to where you truly understand what the circumstances are, and then with the goal of having peace of mind, and being away from everything, where nothing is harming you anymore, and you're building your own life. Pentacles is the earth element, and so that's our physical reality. So she's building a new life, basically, where she has comfort and security, and as the queen, has a little more control over what's going on in her life than maybe what happened here. And then we have the final outcome. But again, for us to get, with Birkenau, to get from the Three of Swords to the Ten of Cups, I think we have a lot of things that are along the way. Sometimes I think with the Chariot, it also means just acceptance of the situation, and you're not going to seek to change it. You just when to exert that effort, and when it's really an exercise in futility. So that's another way to see the Chariot, where I can act, but what's it really going to get me? And say it gets me something, is it really going to be what I want? Because maybe this has damaged things to the point that now you don't even want it anymore. So whether it's a relationship that has to go, or a work situation, or friendships, or some kind of a relationship where you feel betrayed, you've been betrayed by somebody. Sometimes you can't rebuild that. And if you can, great. But if you can't, then it's okay to make a different decision about that. One that actually protects you, that protects your security, your feeling of security, your feeling of groundedness, and gives you a little bit more control over your life. I'm getting pollen notifications on my phone. And in the end, you can walk, through that doorway into something really good for yourself, because you've taken charge of the situation. You've demanded what you need for yourself to happen, instead of being at the mercy of whatever the heck is going on here. And again, it doesn't have to be a love triangle. It can be something else in your life where you've been betrayed by people that you trusted, or that you're trying to trust anyway. I don't know. I think we live in a really weird time right now where trust is broken on a regular basis, and people are thinking all kinds of strange things that really don't make any sense, and they're acting upon those things and doing things to other people that don't make sense. And then if you speak up, then you're just you're attacked for doing so. I've seen a lot of that of late. Standing up for oneself is not always an easy thing to do anyway, but if people are going to make that hard and not own up to what they do, and continue to try to, separate themselves from you and blame you or whatever for things that they've done. That's that poor energy there. Although I have to say, there's another rune in the Geomancy runes called Rubius, and Rubius would be the adult version of that, and that would be a tremendous misuse of force. So at least the energy here is a lack of impulse control, and maybe some self-centeredness. But even that can be really damaging to relationships. It can upend a lot of things. And sometimes, if it's something that has been a repetitive thing that you've experienced with a particular person, or again, coworkers or other people in your life, eventually you just got to say, you know what, I'm going to go my own way now. And I don't trust you. I think you're going to do this again to me. And I don't think you really get what you're doing. Maybe it's somebody that's really manipulative. I know someone like that right now in my life. And frankly, it's a woman, and I just stay away from her. I don't want to know her any more than I already do. Everything she does is manipulative. And I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be involved in it. And, I just think that she's at a place in her life where this has probably been how she's been all her life. And I don't think that she's going to change. She doesn't see it. She feels justified. See, there's that justification. In all likelihood, what's going on here is feelings of justification to do whatever they want to do at your expense. And so whatever that is, you've just got to get quiet, and you've got to turn off all the noise and all the influence, including your own perceptions about how you've seen things in the past, and try to see things with a little more clarity and in a dispassionate way, and let things settle out. Sometimes we try to make decisions in the heat of the moment and in the heat of the emotion of it. And maybe if we just sit back and see, you might be compelled to forgive really quickly, when maybe you need to sit back and say, oh, I think I need to see a little more. I think I need to understand a little more about what's going on. So let's let things settle out before I make a decision. But the decision you make has to be one that you use your own authority. That you're going to decide what experiences you're going to be involved in your life, and how much drama you want, because this is major drama, and your peace of mind has got to be important, and taking your own inner authority to make that happen is also important. And then when you do, you've prepared the way for I think the things coming to fruition part, in terms of family and security and happiness and emotional fulfillment, with the 10 of Cups. So, well, sorry we had the 3. That sort of brings us into, but at least it shows you that there's a process involved in dealing with something like that can bring you to a place of more emotional security in the end. So not all is lost here. And if it's something you've not been wanting to see, it's going on, well, you're a little more important than all that, and you deserve the happiness that you've been working for. And it may not look like it did on this day, but in the end, you're going to be better off for it. So anyhow, at least that's what the cards are suggesting. So I guess that's it. I haven't done a 5-card reading in a while. 4, yes, now and then, but 5, no. We usually can get enough with 3 cards, but sometimes it's like we're missing one, or in this case 2. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll click subscribe and come back and join us here on Mondays and Thursdays for As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.